Bugger Up was probably the most cost-effective health promotion program ever done. If you want to know why Australia was the first developed country to get rid of tobacco advertising, you have to say we're the only group that had Bugger Up, the only country that had Bugger Up working for it.
Well, the first one I did was right here in the middle of the city in a very well-known billboard area, and we'd stopped right in the traffic lights there. There's a traffic all around in the middle of the day, and there was this huge Marlboro billboard right next to us. The fellow was with me, an Aboriginal fellow who was trying desperately to stop smoking, and I asked him, look, there's a billboard, there's a spray can there, I just think I could paint something across there to be very effective. I said, what word? Just one word. He said, look, the word poison is the word. He said, that's how I feel terrible from that rotten poison. So I jumped out of the van and painted the word poison right across the billboard, and stepped back, and it looked terrific. There was come to poison country, and I just thought, that's it, I've started something right now.
When I met Bill, you know, we sort of talked about those sorts of ideas, and so I actually started doing billboards as well. My main thing was that I felt billboards themselves were just like a visual assault. So we came up with the acronym Bugger Up, which is Billboard Utilising Graffitists Against Unhealthy Promotion. From then on, that's when we started signing billboards Bugger Up.
I saw this billboard and I stopped the car and I thought, someone's written something on this billboard. It just caught my imagination. I thought, this is my life's calling.
In my surgical life, I was seeing disease everywhere. Head and neck cancers that were very disfiguring, lungs full of cancer, early coronary bypasses in very young people, amputations of legs, people on ventilators with total lung and heart failure, all caused by tobacco. And I got very angry when I saw the misery associated with these diseases, and I looked for people who were doing something about it, and I found Bugger Up.
It was quintessentially an individualist Aussie larrikin response to corporate thuggery. It was graffiti with attitude.
Well, Bugger Up wasn't an organisation at all. That's why our opponents found it so difficult to infiltrate it, because there was no organisation, there were no meetings, there was no president.
Well, we tried to get out the message that all you really had to do was get a spray can in your conscience and decide what you were willing to get arrested for. And then you simply signed it Bugger Up, and that was your right.
I think one of the great successes of Bugger Up was the fact that anybody could become a member. I mean, what would happen was that we'd hear about billboards being done in some country town or some other city, signed Bugger Up, and we didn't know who it was.
I think my favourites were the ones that just required changing of one or two letters to completely turn the advertisement back on itself.
Simplicity was the thing, to actually change the meaning in the most efficient way. That was the art form. Billboards used to be on ground level, and it was quite easy to just walk up and spray them, and as time went by they retreated to higher levels, building tops and signs out of reach, and so I took to having a spray can extension which was taken from the Bugger Up Autumn catalogue that gives you a step-by-step instruction of how to make that.
What we did was put the spray can at the end of the long extension pole. We used those telescopic ones that you use for paint rollers, and we connected the spray can to the end of that and had a string which operated the button on top of the can. So it was a bit difficult at first, but with a bit of practice it became quite easy. We had one guy who was really good at throwing paint for legs at very high billboards. The Marlboro ads try and create an image of outdoorsy good health, but in fact the products are killing people. Got it right on target every time. He was our Marlboro man.
Well, I did it at night, basically, because I was working as an after-hours doctor at the time, and I used to do it between calls, which is a bit risky. I nearly got arrested on the way to a call once because I just couldn't resist the billboard on the way past. But the other people said the best time to do it was at peak hour, because the cars couldn't stop and the traffic would keep flowing because they couldn't get out.
We tried to automate our process as much as possible, so sometimes we resorted to actually driving along, reaching out the side of the car and refacing a billboard or a poster on the side of a bus or at the back of a taxi from a moving vehicle.
And we talked to the police. They were going to be working that area, and if they see us on the billboards in the evening, not to worry, not to panic, that we're just health workers out doing a job.
Once when Bill was in court, the magistrate said to him, "Well, Mr. Snow, did you think that what you were doing was right or was wrong?" And he said, "Well, I thought it was right." And he said, "Well, then why were you arrested at 4 a.m. doing this if you thought it was right?" And he said, "Well, it wasn't 4 a.m. when I started, but, you know, it takes a long time to do a couple of dozen billboards." The magistrate sort of held his head and said, "Mr. Snow, you're only charged with one offence here."
The court cases gave a lot of publicity because they were covered by the media, but they allowed you to juxtapose the David and Goliath, or the Robin Hood, if you like, where we were the good guys being made the criminals and they were the bad guys killing people but still getting the support of the law.
Now, the tobacco companies and the advertising companies have been sent invitations to this meeting.
In 1983, we thought we'd won the public relations war, and we wanted to do a billboard publicly outside the football final on a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. We invited all the advertisers and the billboard companies to come and watch it and debate the morality of advertising cigarettes on billboards. And no one was arrested, although there were 5 police cars. So we basically felt we'd challenged them. We'd done a public refacing of their billboard. What were they going to do about it? We assumed then that the government would act and do something about advertising. It took them nearly a decade before they got rid of it.
We combined a lot of elements that appealed to the public imagination. We had the larrikin thing, the Ned Kelly approach. We used humour, and we used the mass media, and it cost us nothing. To get that sort of campaign out there would have cost the government millions and millions of dollars.
I think I've saved more lives with a spray can than I'll ever save with a scalpel, because prevention is much better than cure.